Okay, welcome everyone. As we welcome in Dr. Block, and we welcome in Aaron Swade, and we welcome in Mordechai Sultan, Irving Fishbaum, Mo Kushner, Mel Zachter, Chaim Lerner, Mami, it's good to see you. Moshe Lehman, Ilya Shutman, Yitzi Muller, and we got over here Shelley Zeitlin finally back in the seat. That is, not sure, I can't see who that is. Maybe that's Avram Schenkman? I'm not sure. Maybe it's Nachman. Okay, Shelley, we wished you last night a mazel tov on Ora's graduation.
Thank you so much.
Should have only nachas and Emir Hashem in the right time to a wonderful chassan.
Amen. Amen. It was a lovely event, and thank you.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. It was really nice.
She's really become a beautiful young lady.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, Rabbi Isai, we welcome in Baruch Ian, all the way from Fairways, Lakewood, very far away, very far. You know, it's hard because he has to beat through the bushes, and it's really hard, but somebody's got to do it. Here we welcome in Reb Kramer, Moshe Jackman, Gedalia Engel. A shout out to Chaver Adaf, Berish Gesseman, who has a trade show in St. Louis tonight, so he'll be listening to us on a recording. And a shout out to Chaver Adaf, Mark Frankel, who is away with his wife, and he'll be listening to us on recording. Let's see. Okay, we learn as always with the tefillah that all those that want to get their children into yeshiva should get their children in easily and smoothly. We are holding by Ikeda Amrei, the bottom line of Daf Chav Ches Amud Beis. Bottom line of Daf Chav Ches Amud Beis. Ikeda Amrei. Amr Rav Yosef, Laishanu, that we say, that we give. It says in the Mishnah that if we have heard that he was taken out to be executed, that we give the chumras of that maybe he's still alive, and therefore if she's married to Yisrael, she can't eat the truma of her father's household, and also that maybe he's dead, and therefore if she's married to a kohen, she cannot eat truma. As Rashi says, because maybe they accepted a bribe and maybe they didn't kill him. If you heard that he was taken out to be executed, since they pronounced the verdict, to execute him, they surely execute him. Therefore, we assume that he's dead. And if she was married to Yisrael and she's a Bas Kain, she could return to eat the truma of her father's house. Amalei Abaya, so Abaya wonders, but Bezin Shel Yisrael Nami Efshe Dechazalei Schusa. It's possible that they found a merit and overturned the verdict, which is allowed. So the Gemara says that's very rare. Ki Chazalei Schusa. When do they usually find? It's not impossible. But when do they usually find a merit? That's Mekami Delig Medina. That's before they issue a verdict, because they don't issue a verdict until they exhausted all arguments. But after the verdict, it's not very, very usual for them to overturn the verdict. Let's adduce a proof to this. Kol mokum sheyamdu shnayim, where two people get up. V'yoimru me'idum anu es ish plani, we testify about this man that's standing before us. Shenigmar dina bebeis dina shel plani, that a verdict was issued about him in the beis din of so and so. O plani edav, and so are his witnesses that testified about him. Harizeh yehoreg, he is executed. Why don't we say that maybe they found the schus after the verdict? So it must be that we don't concern about that far-fetched case. The Gemara says it's not really a good raya. Why isn't it not really a good raya? Because Dilma, it's possible, boreach shani, if he's a fugitive from the law, that's proof. Why did he run away? He ran away because they never found something to overturn the verdict. In other words, he got away. It was a while after they issued the verdict, and he ran away. That shows the fact that the fact that he ran away shows that he was guilty. And second of all, it took place afterwards. It's not likely that they overturned the verdict. Tajma, Shama bebeis din shel Yisrael. If you heard from a beis din of Jews, Shaya'imim ish plani mace, so and so died, or ish plani nereg, or so and so was executed. Yasiu es ishta, his wife is allowed to remarry. Mikam menatrisin shel oivdei kechavim. But if you hear it from the tribunal of idolaters, from a goyish court, ish plani mei, so and so died, ish plani nereg, or so and so was executed, al yasiu es ishta, his wife is not allowed to remarry. So the Gemara wonders, my mace or my nereg, what does it mean you heard that he died, you heard he was executed? Ilay mace mamish v'nereg mamish, he actually died, he actually was executed. The kavasa gabi oivdei kecham, but if it's in a goyish court, amai al yasiu es ishta, why can't his wife remarry? We said that a guy is believed to give testimony as long as he said it in a casual way, not knowing what legalities were involved. And a guy gives such testimony, he's believed. Elalav, mace, elalav, it must be that when it says mace, yoytzei lamos, he was being taken out to die. V'nereg, yoytzei lihareg, taken out to be killed. V'ketani, and it says, we don't believe it by a beis din of goyim, because there's possible shaykhid, but we do believe it with a beis din shel Yisrael, because it's not likely that they overturned the verdict. V'ketani bebeis din shel Yisrael, yasiu es ishtai. So that's a raya that we don't suspect that maybe they overturned the verdict. So the Gemara says no, as we welcome in Marshall Castle, says the Gemara, la'olam.
Can I just ask before you?
La'olam, don't interrupt in the middle of the train of thought. La'olam, meis mamish. It's talking about we actually died. V'nereg mamish. And we had a question, so why can't we believe the goyish court? We believe the goyish court in a case of Masiach Lefi Tumai. The kavasa gabayov the kechavim amayloi. Why not? V'kaimel on the kol Masiach Lefi Tumai, where it's incidental hemune mehemne. Says the Gemara, but that's only if they don't have bragging rights at stake. Over here, they want to show that they maintain the law, that they've developed a deterrent against crime. That's something that doesn't have to do with them. Where it has to do with their efficiency, so they might say that the person was executed even if they don't know that the person was finally executed. It might be that they maintain a falsehood in order that they should look efficient and that they should look like they get the job done. Yes?
What does it mean, Yaitzi Lamos by the Goyim?
Again, it means to die. It's just a different way of saying it.
Didn't they kill them? Didn't they put the person
Yeah,
to death?
yeah. But it's also that he went out to die.
The Jews, you had to keep her. They went to.
No. It's not else to keep her. It's just a different way of saying it. Just a different way of saying it. Does anybody learn it's referring to the keeper?
That's what I heard someone on this giving a share, and he said the dying by the Jews is a keeper.
Yeah, but then if that's what it means, then what's dying by the goyim? Yeah, so that's I didn't learn that way. I just learned it was two different ways of saying the same thing.
Where are we holding it?
Who is that voice? I recognize that voice. I was once in the Bronx Zoo.
Down under. Way down under.
Hi. How are you, Marshall?
Baruch Hashem.
Nice of you to finally show up.
I cooked my wife her birthday dinner, sorry.
She has a birthday every other week, right? Now,
Happy birthday to her, Marshall.
yeah.
Thanks, Shelly.
Hashem had to really work hard to create a spouse for Marshall.
Yeah, this was a breeze.
Yeah, for you it's a breeze.
For her, it's a breeze too. I just didn't say where it's coming.
Yeah, it's like the one that came at the Titanic. Anyway.
That was a Goldberg.
And anyway,
one of those Jews.
we are holding on the new Mishnah on Daf Chav Tes Amud Aleph. New Mishnah, Daf Chav Tes Amud Aleph.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, as we back it up for Marshall, okay. Hamevi get Beretz Yisrael. Now, here it says deliberately that Chatzkel was bringing the get in Eretz Yisrael because if he's going to be able to appoint a shliach instead of him, it has to be where he doesn't have to say b'fani nichta b'fani nechtam. If he has to say b'fani nichta b'fani nechtam, then he has to do it himself because the shliach that he appoints wasn't written before him. It wasn't signed before him. So therefore the Mishnah starts off, Hamevi get Eretz Yisrael. Chatzkel was designated to bring a get in Eretz Yisrael where you don't have to say b'fani nechtam, v'chala, and he got sick. Says the Gemara, Harizeh mishalcha biyad acher. He could appoint somebody else in his stead. V'im amaloi, but if the husband says to him, Toli hemena chayfetz plini, take from her, when you give the get, take from her back, I gave her a very, very expensive ring, and I want it back, so get me back the ring. Lo yishalchenu biyad acher. That can't be entrusted to another person, because she'ein ritzayna she'ei pikdayna biyad acher. He only trusted Chatzkel with the 7-carat ring. He didn't trust anybody else. Now we're going to see in the Gemara, he can't take the ring, but can he deliver the get? So we're going to talk about that in the Gemara. Now, is this only if Chatzkel gets sick, or could he appoint another agent even if he doesn't get sick? So Amar Rav Kahana Chola Tanan, only if he gets sick. So the Gemara says, well, duh. Pshita, Chola Ketani. It says only if he gets sick. It says, well, no. Even if he didn't get sick, he's not in the mood. He wants to play pickleball. Right? So he could appoint somebody else. Because if he gets sick, then he's going to have to appoint somebody else. Kamash Malan, it must be, the Gemara says, only if he gets sick. If he doesn't get sick, he has to do the job himself. So now the Gemara wonders, what's the parameters? Hey, Chidami. Id amalei hailech, if the husband said to Chatzkel, take it, then afagav the loy chalanami. Even if he doesn't get sick, he didn't say you take it. He said take it. So why can't he appoint another person? The damale ad hoylech, you should take it. Then l'chayre he can't give it over even if he gets sick. Then afilu chalanami loy. The Reb Shimon Gamliel, and if it's going according to Reb Shimon Gamliel that says that you can't appoint another shliach, afilu chalanami loy. Where do we see this? The Tanya hoylech gets el ishti if he says to Chatzkel, take this get to my wife. He could send it with somebody else. Atoylech gets el ishti. You should take the get to my wife. You can't send it with somebody else because he insisted you. In either case, whether he said you or even if he said take it, a shliach cannot make a shliach. The bottom line is we don't seem to find someone over here that makes a distinction of whether he got sick or not. So the Gemara says, well, we're just going to have to tweak the opinions here a little bit. It could be that it's talking about where he said take it, and even though the Tanakama says he could appoint another shliach, we'll have to insist that the Tanakama means only if he gets sick. The Iba Yisema at hoylech, it's where he said you take it, and normally you take it, you can't appoint another shliach. But v'chalashani, in mitigating circumstances, even if he said you take it, but he allows for the diversion, for the change in the event that the shliach gets sick. The Iba Yisema Reb Shimon Gamliel, who says that whether he said at or whether he just said hoylech, the shliach has to do it himself, Chatzkel has to do it himself, but Reb Shimon Gamliel would agree, the chalashani, if he gets sick, it's different. Tanan, maybe get Eretz Yisrael, if a person is bringing a get in Eretz Yisrael, and he gets sick, he could send it with somebody else, the Gemara says, a contradiction, we learned not that way. By the way, reminu or rami means we throw at something that contradicts it. It's a lashon of rami, to throw. V'raminu, amal ishnayim tnu get liishti. If the husband tells to two people, give a get to my wife, oil shloisha, or to three people, kisvu get v'tnu liishti, write the get and deliver it to my wife, hare elu yichtavu yitnu. These people could write it and give it. The implication is only these and nobody else. Inu in avol shliach loy. And the implication is even if they get sick, it's only them and no one else. Says, well, that's different. Because where he told them to write it, that means that he's admitting that he doesn't know how to write it himself. And that's an embarrassment. And therefore he doesn't want that embarrassment to be conveyed to other people. Amar Abai Hasam Taima Mai Mishum Bizayin the Baal. It's because of the embarrassment of the husband. Hacha, but over here, where he didn't say to write it, he gave the get which was already prepared, and he just said to give it. Hacha Baal loy kapit. The husband is not makbid, and therefore you can tell somebody else to do it. Rava says where he just said write it, in our case, there's a get. There's a physical thing. So if it's a physical thing, you could give that over to another shliach. Here he told them to write it. That's just words. And words cannot be delegated to another shliach. Rava Amar Mishum de Milei Ninu. They're words. Or Milei Loi Mimtzim L'Shliach. Now, my beinai, what's the difference between the reason of Abaya and the reason of Rava, as we welcome in Abe Arbach, El Yeshutun, and Shimon Klein, Eddie Chazan, getting richer here by the minute and on this wonderful Wednesday evening. My beinayu, says the Gemara, Ike beinayu shliach matana, where it's a gift deed. and he tells Chatzkel about the gift deed to take it to Baruch, and Chatzkel wants to delegate it that Mel should take it to Baruch. Now over here, there's no embarrassment of writing it, because the onus of writing the gift deed is on the recipient. It's on Baruch. So there's no embarrassment. But on the other hand, over here, it's words, and if you hold Milei Lamimsum L'Shliach, it would be the same thing by a gift deed too. So, Ike B'nai Shliach Matana, or Beplukta de Rav and Shmuel, and it's the same argument of Rav and Shmuel. Rav Amar Matana Eina Keget. Rav says a gift is not like a get, and a shliach could give it over to another shliach because there's no embarrassment. V'Shmuel Amar Matana Hari Keget, because it's words, and words you cannot give over to a shliach. As we welcome in Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg on this early Wednesday evening. It's not so early, it's 20 after 9 already, but it is early in what we have to do, because Amir Hashem, after we do the daf, we will have a chumash here this evening. Well, one night a chok and another night a chumash here. We're living high, and we welcome in Richard Rosenzweig, who's joining us on Facebook this evening. Welcome in David Helfgat on Kalaloshin. Remember, every day I add new shiurim to YouTube. We already have, Baruch Hashem, I just saw it tonight on the, we welcome in Sandy Grutenfeld, I just saw on the analytics that we already have 1,600 people watching on YouTube. And there is, the most recent share I downloaded was Shabbos Secrets, which is a share that I gave about Shabbos in London. Is a share that I just I uploaded. Said downloaded. I uploaded a share that a hesped that I said about Miriam Libby on the first yard site. I uploaded a share that I said by the Rambam's grave, about the Rambam's opinion about tzedakah. There's a lot of interesting shiurim there. Give a look on YouTube. We are holding now the first wide line of Daf Chav Tes Amud Aleph. V'im amolei tel li heimena chayfetz pliny. If he says to Chatzkel, take from her back the ring, so that he can't delegate. Amarei Shlakish kan shana Rebbe. Here Rebbe taught, Ein hashoyel rashay lahashel. If I lend you something, then you cannot lend it out to another person. Ve'ein hasoicher rashay lahasker. If I rent you something, you can't rent it out to another person, because I could say, you I trust, but the other person I don't trust. Amalei Rabbi Yochanan, so Rabbi Yochanan says, Zu afilu tinoike shabeis rabim yoydinaisa. This even school children know. Ela zimnin de gita nami lo yavi. Remember I told you that this is a question where the husband said to Chaskel, deliver the get and retrieve the ring. So, the nasa kamisha amaloi, because it would be as if he said, Al tigrisha ela babayis, only divorce her in the house, V'girsha b'aliyah, and he divorced her on the second story. Al tigrisha ela b'yamin, only divorced her on the right, V'girsha b'shmal, and he divorced her on the left. So if he deviates from the agency that he was given, the kuli alma, heicha de nafka la'apei, where she went out to greet the shliach, v'yovelei chayfetz, and gave the ring, v'hader shakla minei gita, and took back the get, kuli amalei pliga, everybody agrees, the gita malyavi. It was a good get. Ki pligi, listen to the deviation, Marshall is the shliach, and Marshall has to be careful to do things as he was told. Something that, look at Marshall. Ki pligi, you could tell he's a shul president. Ki pligi, ki pligi, heichad the amale, where he says to him, the husband says to Marshall, shkol mina chayfetz, get the ring, v'hadar havla gita, and only then give her the get. And Marshall does it in the other order. He gives the get and then takes the ring. V'azal iyu v'yavla gita, v'hadar shakol mina chayfetz. So Rabbi Yochanan paisel boy, Rabbi Yochanan passes if Marshall, the actual shliach, deviated, because and surely if Marshall gave it over to a second shliach and he deviated, that the get will be possible. Reish Lakish holds that even though he said it in that order, it doesn't mean that if he does it out of order, the get's not a good get. Reish Lakish machshe b'shluchai, even if the agent that Marshall gives it over to deviates, and surely if Marshall himself deviates, it's going to be good. Bottom line is he got the ring, so the get is a good get. That's the opinion of Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan says, just like if he tells him, it really shouldn't make a difference if the get's given in the house, if the get's given in the attic, if it's the get's given in the right, or the get's given in the left. Rabbi Yochanan says if you deviate, it's no good. Here also, the husband told Marshall, get the ring and then give the get. He gave the get and then got the ring. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it's no good. New Mishnah. Just getting underway on this beautiful evening as we are getting ready for a exciting Chumash here. I'll give you a scoop that the Chumash here tonight is all about the glorious mitzvah of tzitzis, which is discussed in this week's parasha, which is Shkula Keneged Taryag mitzvahs. It's equal to the 613 mitzvahs. So stay tuned for that very exciting share.
Rabbi, just a question. Does the fact that he's getting the ring back, does that have to be in the get as well?
No, it's not in the get. No, it's not. It's not in the get. It's not a Tanai in the get. It's just a part of the shlichus. Now,
standard part of the shlichus?
No, this was the specific shlichus. Hamevi get mimedin sayam. If Chatzkel brings a get from overseas, I don't know what Eddie Chazan is doing over there. I think he's flying a helicopter or something. It looks like maybe his house is flying to Dakota or something. Let's try to get these people muted over here. Okay. Now the plot thickens. Chatzkel's bringing the get from overseas where he has to say b'fani nechtam, and now he gets sick. Now what happens? Oh, that's already a problem. No double dipping over here. Now, says the Gemara, Hamevi get mibdina siyam. If Marshall is not Marshall, Chatzkel is bringing get from overseas, v'chala, and now Chatzkel gets sick. So what does he do? If he gives it over to Marshall, but Marshall can't say b'fani nechtam, he didn't see the get written, but he came from overseas. So then, oise shliach bebezdin. What Chatzkel has to do is he has to go to a court, or three people come to his house, they convene a bezdin, and umishalchai, and in front of that bezdin, he appoints an agent, v'aymer lifneim, and he says in front of the bezdin, b'fani nechta. So that's the ein shliach achron, tzarich sheyaymer b'fani nechta. Then Marshall doesn't have to say b'fani nechtam. Elo aymer shliach bezdin ani. I'm an agent of the court, and the din that a get that comes from overseas was fulfilled by Chatzkel saying the b'fani nechtam in front of the bezdin. Amru le Rabbanon la'avimi berei de Rabbi Avo. The Rabbanon said to Avimi, the son of Rabbi Avo, Boi minei me Rabbi Avo. Inquire of Rabbi Avo. Shliach the shliach. Chatzkel shliach marshal. Can he make another shliach? Shliach the shliach mas shvei shliach oiloi. Can he make another shliach or not? Amalu, so he said to them, of course, Marshall can make another shliach. Midiktani, because what does it say in the Mishnah? Ein shliach ha'achroin. It doesn't say shliach ha'sheni. It says shliach ha'achroin. So that means that once Chatzkel made Marshall a shliach, Marshall can make Sheli a shliach. Midiktani ein shliach ha'achroin michlal the mashrei shliach. But here's the shaila. Elakite ba'iluchu, the shaila is when Marshall wants to delegate it to yet another shliach Sheli, does he have to do it in Bezdin? Remember, Marshall was made a shliach by the Bezdin. If Marshall wants to make another shliach, does he have to do it in Bezdin? Elakite ba'iluchu ki mashvei shliach bebezdin. Or could he do it since already Chatzkel said b'fani nechtam in front of a bezdin? So b'fani nechtam was taken care of, and the bezdin made Marshall a shliach. Now Marshall wants to go play pickleball, so he wants to make Sheli a shliach. Does he have to go to a court to do that?
No pickleball.
Oh, afilu shaloi bebezdin. Right? Disregard him, Rabbi say. Or even, Marshall, you're very, very attractive on mute. Or even if there's no bezdin. Amrulay, again, halay mibayilan. Why? Militani ela that the shliach ha'achroin says, shliach bezdinani. That means even if Marshall wants to make Sheli into a shliach, he has to do it in front of Bezdin. Because it says that the last one says shliach Bezdin ani. Now, Reb Nachman Yitzchak is going to give us the same salient facts, but he's going to present it in a different order as we welcome in Harrison Kletzel with our 24th Zoomer of this young evening. Missing a lot of people over here. Shalom Fogel is not with us this evening, and wow, a lot of people aren't here tonight. Menachem Umansky. I'm trying to figure out who that is.
It's Mark.
Huh? Mark is away. Who is that there by the iPhone? I can't see that.
I think that's Itchy Deutsch.
Itchy Deutsch. He finally, he was standing on his head. He finally got there. Very good, Itchy. Thank you, Irving. Not used to people standing on their head. It's not Itchy Deutsch. You mean Itchy, not Itchy Deutsch, Itchy Weintraub. Itchy Friedman, I mean. Thank you, Mel. Itchy Friedman.
Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, Itchy Friedman. That's okay. I made this mistake also. We're in a good camp. Okay, we have Robert Resnick who's joining us for the Chumash here. You'll have to wait a little bit, Robert. You might want to come back if you want in about 10 minutes, but you could stay. It's fine to have you. Says the Gemara, Rav Nachman Yitzchak Masnei Hochi. Rav Nachman Yitzchak taught it in this version. Amru le Rabbanan la'avimi b'rei de Rabbi Avo. The Rabbanan said to Avimi, the son of Rabbi Avo, Boi minei me Rabbi Avo, inquire of your father, Shliach the Shliach, Chatzkel's agent Marshall, Ki mashvei Shliach, when he wants to appoint Sheli, bebezdin? Does he have to do it bebezdin? Or shalai bebezdin? Or not in bezdin? Amalo. So he said to them, well, before you ask me that, the tibai lechum, first you should ask, imash ve'shliach ba'alma, if you could appoint a second shliach. Amalei halaikim abaylam. If Marshall could appoint yet Shelley, that wasn't a shayla, because the Mishnah uses the lashon the Tanya ain't shliach ha'akron, the last shliach. It doesn't say the second shliach; it says the last shliach. Michlal the shliach mashvei shliach. El kika mibaylan bebezdin or shalei bebezdin. Does it have to be done in bezdin? Look. That Chatzkel had to do it in Bezdin, that's because he had to say B'fari Nechtem in front of the Bezdin. But maybe Marshall doesn't need to do a Bezdin. Or you should be Bezdin. This shouldn't be a Shaila either. The last one has to say Shliach Bezdin. So therefore we see that even if Marshall wants to appoint Shelley, he would have to do it with Bezdin. Amar Rabbah, Shliach be'eretz Yisrael oise kama shluchim. A shliach in Eretz Yisrael where b'fanei nichtav or b'fanei nechtam is not needed because it's in Eretz Yisrael. We can make many shluchim. We could make many agents. In other words, Chatzkel could appoint Marshall. Marshall could pass the buck and appoint Shelley. So says the Gemara, Shliach be'eretz Yisrael oise kama shluchim. Amar of Ashi, in Meis Rishon, if Chatzkel, the original agent, dies, then there's a domino effect and everybody loses his power. Here's the svara. The husband, Zisha, commissioned Chatzkel to bring a get. Chatzkel gave it over to Marshall. Marshall gave it over to Shelley. Chatzkel is the connection between the husband and Marshall and Shelley. If Chatzkel dies, it breaks the circuit. That's the way the Gemara looks at it now. Let's see it inside. Amar Rav Ashi and Meis Rishon, if Chatzkel dies, Batlu Kulan. Amar Mar Bar Rav Ashi, the son of Rav Ashi said, Hoda Abba de Katnusi, that which they were reporting in the name of my father, this was in his youth. Because who does it really depend on? Not Marshall, not Chatzkel. It depends on the husband. Ilu meis bal midei mishashis. If the husband dies before Shelley, the last shliach, gives the get, is it meaningful? It's meaningless. Kula mekayach man kasu. Therefore, who do they derive their strength from? Mekayach the baal kasu, from the husband. Isei labal, if the husband is alive, isnu lekulu. Leisnu labal, if the husband is not alive, lesnu lekulu. That's an interesting idea. In other words, the husband said to Chatzkel to do it. Since when he says to Chatzkel to do it, inherent is that he could delegate it to others. As long as he already delegated it to somebody else, if now he dies, it doesn't hurt the essential get. As long as the main principle, which is the husband Zusha, is alive. Very interesting. We could hear it both ways. A very interesting chiddush. Now the Gemara tells us an interesting story. Again, my tremendous admiration to all of you for coming to learn night after night what is not an easy Masechta.
Rabbi, you're the one who's doing all the hard work. You're the one who's doing it.
Well, okay, I get my power from the schus of the rabbin. One wonderful rabbin we have. And that includes everybody out there in TorahAnytime.com land and Coalition land and Facebook land and YouTube land and all the people that get it digitally. All of you are amazing.
Plan.
There's a little static on the line, Rabbi, so ignore it. You know who else is not here tonight? Rabbi Kranz isn't here tonight. Missing a lot of quality people.
Uwe Pollack has a graduation.
Oh, that's right. Now we're already in graduation season. That's correct. Graduation season, wedding season. Okay.
Bourbon season.
Marshall, there's no season. That's every time. It's like saying Frankfurter season. Marshall.
That too, all day.
Yeah. You know, says the Gemara, Hahu Gavra, the Shadul Lagita L'Debisei. Zusha sent a get to his wife. So he said, Chatzkel, take this get to my wife, Rachel Shminza. Amar Shliach, so Chatzkel said, Lo Yedanala. How can I give it to her? I never met her. I'm going to get there and I don't know who she is. Amar Lei, so he said to him, Zil Yove La Abba Bar Minyumi, you should go to California, where she lives, and give it to Abba Bar Minyumi, the Iu Yodala. He knows her, and he'll give it to her. So what did he do? He made him a shliach lo'ilacha to give the get to Abba Bar Minyumi, to give it to his wife. Asa, Chatzkel gets to California, v'loi eshkach la'Abba Bar Minyumi. He couldn't find Abba Bar Minyumi. California is a big place. So now what does he do? So Ashkechei l'Rebbe Avo v'Rebbe Chanina bar Papa v'Rebbe Yitzchak Nafcha. That's a nice bezdin. Three great people, Rebbe Avo, Rebbe Chanina bar Papa, and Rebbe Yitzchak Nafcha. V'Yosef Rav Safra Gabai. Rav Safra was sitting with them. Amru lei, they told him, fret not. Misar milach kamedi done. Give your instructions over to us so you could go back home to Kansas. When Abba Bar Minyumi comes, Neisvinole will give it to him. And he'll give the get to Rachel Shminza. So this sounds like a great option, right? They told Chatzkel, look, you want to get home. You have instructions from the husband to give it to Abba Bar Minyumi, to give it to his wife. You give us the instructions as a bezdin, and we'll give the get to Abba Bar Minyumi to give it to the wife. So Amalu Rav Safra, so Rav Safra said, what are you talking about? Chatzkel was never a shliach to divorce her. And since he wasn't a shliach to divorce her, he can't give over any instructions to issue a divorce. He was only a shliach to give it to Abba Bar Minyumi. And you want him to convey that he should give it over, to tell them to give it to Abba Bar Minyumi to make a get. Ichsufu. They were embarrassed. Amar Rava, Kapchinu Rav Safra cut down, refuted L'tlasa Rabbanan Smuche, these three Rabbanan that received Smicha. Amar Rav Ashi didn't agree. Rav Ashi said, remember the husband originally wanted Chatzkel to deliver the get. It was only when Chatzkel said he didn't know her, so he said, okay, you could give it to Abba Bar Minyumi. But from the fact that originally he said that he wanted him to do it, that means that he was a shliach l'gerishin. Amar Rav Ashi b'may kapchinu. Mika amalei Abba Bar Minyumi v'loy at? Did he say Abba Bar Minyumi and not you? Adarabba, originally he wanted him to do it. Ikid amrei, Amar Rava kapchinu Rav Safra, l'tras rabbanan smuche. It was a good refutation. Excuse me. Ikna amrei amar Rav kapchinu Rav Safra l'tras rabbanan smuche b'te'usa. It was an error because he initially did want the husband, the chatzkel, to do it. Rav Ashi, so Rav Ashi disagreed. My te'usa. What was the mistake? Because Micah Amalek, and afterwards he told him, "Oh, you don't recognize my wife? I don't want to have a problem, and you'll give it to the wrong person. Abba bar min Yomi v'loyat, Abba bar min Yomi, and not you. And since Abba bar min Yomi and not you, he wasn't a shliach that was nitain l'gerushin, and therefore it was a good refutation that Rav Safra had. They are not, he would not be able to give it over that to them that they should tell Abba ben Yumi to give the get to the wife. How Gavra, another case. How Gavra the Shadol Agita l'Debiseyu. There was a man who sent the get to his wife. Amalei l'shliach. He told the agent. This was Marshall. He told Marshall, "Like teisvei nihala atlasin yain." Don't give it to her for 30 days. Now, what happened is Marshall found out.
Yeah, how was your speech? Hello?
What happened is Marshall found out that in 25 days he had to be in Pennsylvania to pick up a winning lottery ticket. So now he can't give the get in 30 days. So Isness, Marshall had circumstances beyond his control, begav tlos in Yomi. So now he doesn't know what to do because he's supposed to give the get after 30 days, but he's not going to be in California. He's going to be picking up his 1.7 in Pennsylvania. So also the Kame de Rava, Amar Rava chola taima mai. If the agent gets sick, why could he delegate? Mishum da honest. Hainami anasu. He's also an honest. He has to get his $1.7. Yeah, he can't be it. Amalei. So Rava told Marshall, Misar Mila Kamei Didan, give over your instructions before our court. The Labasa Tlasin Yaimin, after 30 days, Mashmin Shliach will make an agent of the court, the Yov Leiniale, and will give it. Amalei Rabbanan L'Rava, wait a second. During 30 days, he was not given over to do a divorce. So since during the 30 days he's not a shliach to give over the divorce, then how could he delegate the court to give it a divorce? He said that's not called. Since he was delegated to give it after 30 days, he's not a shliach. That's not nitan legerishin. Amalu kaven delabasa tlasin yayim matzim megarish. Since he could have done it after 30 days, kishliach shenitan legerishin. He is considered an agent that has the license to do a divorce, and therefore he could give it over. Says him, but there's a different problem. This has nothing to do with shlichus. How could a get be given after 30 days? We should worry, the normal worry of a predated get, we should worry that maybe in the interim, the husband and wife made up and maybe slept together, which would invalidate the get, because we don't want to have a situation where the people will say that the baby was born illegitimately. So v'leiches shema payis, miloi tanan. Didn't we learn in the Mishnah? Me achshav. He says here's a get from now, im loy basi mikan vad yud beis chodesh, if I don't come back in 12 months, omeis b'seich yud beis chodesh, and he dies within the 12 months, how is that get? So the Gemara says, but we should worry that maybe within the 12 months before he died, they made up and they slept together. So the Gemara says the usual concern that maybe they make up is a little bit far-fetched. And if the husband says, if Amar Rabba Barafuna Hachi Amar Abba Mari Mishmei Derav, but Omer, it's talking about where Nemenis Alai Loimer Shaloi Basi. It's talking about where the wife says, where the husband says that she is to be believed, the wife is believed to say that I never was near her. But otherwise, where that clause was not said, how could you say that Marshall should deliver a get after 30 days? We should worry that maybe they came together and they appeased each other, and it would make it a get yashin. So Ichsif Rava was Ichsif, he was embarrassed. But then they found out that this case was talking about an arusa, where the man who said to Marshall to give the get after 30 days, they were never married. They never consummated the marriage. It was only a case of an arusa. And by an arusa, we're not chayshish that maybe they slept together, because anyway, an aris is not supposed to sleep together before the nesuin, before chuppah. L'saif, igloi milsa da arusa havai. She was only engaged to him. Amar Rava im amru b'nesua. If we would say that we worry that maybe they appeased each other, that's only if they're already married. Ya'imru b'arusa, but we don't say that if they never slept together yet. And therefore, if he said give the get to her only after 30 days, and now Marshall is an oinus because he has to pick up his lottery ticket, he can go in front of the Bezdin and give over that they should give it after 30 days, and he's considered a shliach that's nitain legerishin, since he has a license to give it after 30 days. Okay, Rabbi Yisai, we learned the Mishnah Yomis already, because we are going to go now into a Chumash year.